Adam Smith, 37, stood in the cluttered living room of his late mother's apartment, the weight of the last few days pressing heavily on him. He was surrounded by the remnants of a life that had never quite made sense to him, a life he had spent years trying to distance himself from. The apartment, which had once been home, now felt like a mausoleum filled with secrets he wasn't sure he wanted to uncover. But as he began the arduous task of sorting through his mother's belongings, he was about to stumble upon a truth far darker than he could have imagined. But hey, before we dive into the story, do yourself a favor and pause the video right now. Go hit that like button, and let's see if we can make this video reach 1,000 likes. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to your favorite story channel. Also, make sure to ring the notification bell so you never miss out on the latest and weirdest stories. Trust us, you won't want to miss what's coming your way. Now sit back, relax, and prepare to be amazed as we take you on an unforgettable ride. Don't forget to engage with us in the comments below. We love hearing from you. Without further ado, let's dive right in. Growing up, Adam's relationship with his mother Barbara had been complicated. In his early years, she had been a doting mother, always making sure that he and his sister Susan had food on the table and a roof over their heads. But that stability was shattered when Adam was around 12 years old. Barbara began drinking heavily, spending more time with unsavory characters and less time at home. The woman who had once been his protector had become a distant figure, consumed by her vices. As Barbara's drinking worsened, a rift formed between her and her extended family. Adam and Susan, who had once been surrounded by aunts, uncles, and cousins, found themselves increasingly isolated. The Smith family, once close-knit, was now fractured. Barbara's life spiraled further out of control, and Adam, barely a teenager, was left to fend for himself. He took up odd jobs and moved out as soon as he was able. But no matter how far he tried to run, he was always drawn back to his mother. "That was my mom," he would say, as if that explained everything. Barbara had lived in her apartment for nearly 2 decades. The once white walls had turned yellow with age, and the clutter that filled every corner was a testament to her disordered life. Amidst the chaos, there was one thing that had always stood out to Adam: a box in the freezer. It was the size of a large shoebox, the kind that might hold a pair of boots, and it had been there for as long as Adam could remember. He had asked his mother about it countless times over the years, but her responses were always evasive. "It's nothing. Don't worry about it," she would say, brushing off his curiosity. After Barbara's death in July, Adam found himself back in that apartment, the weight of responsibility heavy on his shoulders. His mother had died of small cell lung cancer, a disease she had battled quietly, hiding the severity of her illness from her children. The day she passed, Adam felt a mix of grief and relief. Barbara's suffering was over, but so too was her hold on him. A week after her death, Adam's girlfriend urged him to start cleaning out the apartment. The place was a mess. Dirty dishes piled high, half-empty boxes of food cluttering the pantry, and years of accumulated junk covering every surface. Late one hot July night, Adam opened the freezer to grab a cold drink, and there it was, the box. For the first time, there was no one to stop him from opening it. Curiosity gnawed at him. He took a photo of the freezer and sent it to his girlfriend, his sister Susan, and his aunt. "What if it's money?" his aunt joked. Adam didn't think so, but the box had been a mystery for so long, and now finally he had the chance to solve it. He grabbed a knife and cut into the cardboard. Inside, he found a pink fleece blanket, soft and worn from age. His heart raced as he pulled back the layers, and then he froze. Beneath the blanket was a tiny foot, and as he peeled back more of the fabric, he saw a small, mummified body. The baby's skin was cracked, its features still intact despite the decades that had passed. Adam's stomach churned. He quickly wrapped the blanket back around the baby and shoved it into the box. He stumbled away from the freezer, his mind reeling. He dialed the non-emergency number for the police, struggling to find the words to explain what he had just discovered. When the police arrived, Adam led them to the kitchen, where they carefully extracted the box from the freezer. One officer looked at Adam as if expecting him to take the lead. "I'm not touching it again," Adam said firmly, stepping back. The officers took over, treating the kitchen as a crime scene. Adam retreated to his room, the weight of what he had found pressing down on him. Later, at the police station, a detective interrogated him, trying to make sense of the gruesome discovery. Adam insisted he had no idea what the box contained, and after a long night of questioning, the detective let him go, apologizing for the ordeal. The next day, the story broke in the media. News outlets across the country, and even internationally, picked up the story. His mother kept a cardboard box in the freezer for decades. Inside, he found a mummified baby, read the headline on the Washington Post's website. Reporters descended on Adam's life, bombarding him with questions he couldn't answer. Who was the baby? How had it ended up in the freezer? And perhaps most importantly, what kind of person had his mother really been? Barbara Smith had always been a secretive woman, even with her own children. She had kept her past shrouded in mystery, leaving Adam and Susan to piece together their family history on their own. For years, they had believed they shared the same father, Terry Smith, but as adults, they discovered that Susan's father was actually a man named Don, who had been Barbara's first husband. The revelation was just one of many secrets Barbara had kept from them. In the weeks following her death, Adam and Susan began to piece together the fragments of their mother's life. They discovered siblings they never knew they had, children Barbara had given up for adoption, never telling anyone in the family about their existence. Each new revelation only deepened the mystery surrounding the woman who had raised them. Adam was haunted by the thought of the baby in the freezer. He remembered a conversation he had once had with his mother while they were driving. She had seemed sad, and when he asked her why, she had said, "My firstborn Jennifer would have been 21 today." Adam had been just a boy at the time, and the comment had confused him. Now he couldn't help but wonder if the baby in the freezer was Jennifer. Had his mother carried that secret with her for decades, unable to let go of the child she had lost? But there were no easy answers. The police and medical examiner were still investigating, and without a DNA test, Adam couldn't even be sure if the baby was his mother's child. The uncertainty gnawed at him, keeping him awake at night. He couldn't shake the feeling that his mother had done something terrible, something she had never been able to confess. As the days turned into weeks, Adam continued to grapple with the legacy Barbara had left behind. He had always known his mother was troubled, but the discovery of the baby had shattered any illusions he might have had about her. He couldn't help but feel anger towards her. Anger that she had kept so many secrets, that she had left him with so many unanswered questions. And yet, despite everything, he couldn't bring himself to hate her. Barbara had been a deeply flawed person, but she was still his mother. The complicated emotions he felt were a reflection of the complicated woman she had been. In the end, Barbara's death brought Adam a sense of freedom he hadn't expected. He no longer had to bear witness to her pain, to the self-destructive behavior that had defined her later years. He was free to live his life on his own terms, to finally pursue the dreams he had put on hold for so long. But even as he moved forward, Adam knew he would never truly be free of his mother's influence. The secrets she had kept, the choices she had made, and the pain she had caused would always be a part of him. He could only hope that in time, he would find a way to make peace with the past and the mother who had haunted him for so long.